On 2000, unlocking the secrets of the spectacular Northern Lights.
These rare images are shedding new light on the power behind the magical Aurora Borealis. Also this week, breaking records and making waves in a steel speed demon.
I'm taking a ride in the world's fastest V-bottom boat.
And meet the husband and wife who are launching their own space race.
I want to be the first amateur to put a rocket into space.
It carves through the water, cutting a powerful wake, challenging the elements. I'm taking a ride in the world's fastest V-bottom boat. It's all about racing drivers and their machines pushing themselves to the outer limit and the quest to fulfill the need for speed. This nautical rocket is Fountain's Ohio Steel, and it has the distinction of holding the world speed record in its class. At 210 kilometres an hour, it powers along at an awesome and potentially dangerous pace. As co-pilot, I've been given the responsibility of steering. But if the truth be known, every turn I make is closely watched by experienced throttleman and racing boat legend Reggie Fountain. Ohio Steel is Reggie's baby, and with one eye on the water and the other on his instruments, he controls the trim of the engines and acceleration. To achieve breakneck speeds like these, Ohio Steel has to overcome the water's resistance. Because water provides much more resistance than air, it's a lot harder to generate speed on water than land. So, how is this machine able to fly so fast? To give this yellow monster the sort of performance bravado it craves, there's not one, not two, but three supercharged 1,000 horsepower engines. That packs a punch by anyone's standards. And at top speed, it chews through a staggering 300 gallons or 1,300 litres of racing fuel an hour. But it's not only the high-performance, energy-hungry engines that give this boat the winning edge. The secret to speed is complex, but more and more it depends on hull design. Ohio Steel's hull is full of tiny holes, but rather than let it sink, they let it fly. This mega racer literally rides along on a bed of bubbles. Through two vents on either side of the boat, air is sucked in and mixed with water underneath, creating a layer of fine foam. And that offers a lot less resistance than water, so the boat can glide over the surface with a lot less drag. On our test run, we flew close to the world record, clocking up 200 kilometres an hour. At these speeds, it gets downright dangerous. One rough wave and a boat can flip, as Reggie Fountain knows all too well.
I raced the tunnel boats in earlier years. It ran 120 and 30 like these. I was in 8 different accidents. I was on the way to the hospital 6 different times with the faster tunnel type boats, which are really very dangerous type of boats. This boat's very safe. We have to have an accident. It could happen. Anything can happen at that speed, but they're the safest boats out there.
By shifting the centre of gravity forward, Ohio Steel has been engineered to have good control in rough conditions. But, safety aside, this boat was basically built for speed, and prior to racing, extensive and expensive tuning is needed around the clock. That's quite a mean-looking prop. It's extraordinary. The spin-offs from these races are new hull designs and engine combinations that advance our knowledge about hydro and aerodynamic forces. As Reggie concedes, a lot of it comes down to trial and error. But when it comes to speed, Ohio Steel has cracked the winning combination.
More than a quarter of all road deaths are caused by alcohol. And while traffic laws will stop many drunken offenders, education is the driving force that will make the roads of the future safer. And this is the latest approach to teaching people about the hazards of drinking and driving. They're called Substance Abuse Alcohol Simulator Glasses, or SAS for short. And they're designed to let you see what life is like through the bottom of a glass. I tell you, you think I look funny, you should see things from my perspective. Simply by adjusting the lenses like this, you can create more than 20 negative mind-altering effects. The SAS glasses can be variously adjusted to give you double vision, to disturb your peripheral vision, or to just plain confuse you. Now, the whole aim is to teach children about the dangers of drinking long before they're old enough to take a sip or even get behind the wheel, for that matter. And the glasses provide a playful way of doing that. Now, the Bondi nippers here, who haven't had a nip at all, are going to test out the glasses for us. Isn't that right, Dean?
Yeah.
The SAS glasses are already being used in schools throughout the USA. Various exercises are used to put the kids through their paces, and it only takes a few minutes behind a pair of the glasses for them to understand how dangerous drinking and driving can be. Ready, set, go! The SAS glasses aren't the trendiest eyewear on the beach, but they do mimic the effects of being drunk, all the bad effects, except of course that you don't get a hangover and you're able to remember the experience with full 20/20 hindsight. Where am I?
Up next, unlocking the power that's trapped within this spectacular sky show, revealing new information about the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. Eerie, magical and bewitching, the Aurora Borealis decorate the Arctic skies late at night in spring and autumn. The shimmering lights appear as bands, arches, filaments and streamers. Like a biblical dance of many-coloured veils, the aurora tantalise and tease the senses. But unless you live around the Arctic Circle, the chances are you've never seen them before. Because clear as they are to the human eye, the lights are still so dim that they can't be recorded by normal video cameras. However, scientists have found a way of capturing the extraordinary beauty of the Northern Lights in all their splendour and glory. None of these images would be recorded for us to marvel at, had it not been for the vision and ingenuity of three scientists. Neil Brown, Tom Hallinan and Dan Osborne have spent years perfecting a system that would capture on video the true colours of the aurora. And not just for their delicate beauty. To the scientists, the sky is a natural laboratory, a place to tap into a cosmic force of unimaginable power. The sun. This nuclear powerhouse pumps out heat, light, and a continuous stream of protons and electrons called the solar wind. When the solar wind reaches Earth, some of the charged particles become trapped in the planet's magnetic field, spiralling down to the polar regions. There, in the electrically charged upper atmosphere, the particles create a solar-powered light show, just like a giant fluorescent lamp. When you turn the electricity on, a stream of energetic electrons travels through the gas-filled tube. Well, as the electrons go, they bump into atoms and molecules, jostling them and getting them quite excited. Well, that makes them release energy in the form of ultraviolet radiation. Well, as the radiation strikes a coating of phosphor on the inside of the glass tube, it makes it glow, emitting light. The vibrant array of colours found in the aurora is caused by different types of atoms and molecules in the ionosphere being struck by the energetic electrons. Each one emits a different colour. So the brightest and most common, a pale yellowish green, is produced by oxygen atoms at an altitude of around 100 kilometres. While rare all-red aurora are the signature of high-altitude oxygen at 320 kilometres. That clearer, more detailed picture of the aurora has emerged thanks to video techniques developed at the Geophysical Institute at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. They customised a limited edition Ikegami video camera to enhance its sensitivity in low light. Then the camera has to be calibrated specially for each shoot to ensure it reproduces the auroral colours accurately and consistently.
The scene you're seeing here is illuminated by the aurora. Well, normally when you'll see something, it's illuminated by the sun or by an artificial light inside. Here, this scene is illuminated by the light of the aurora, and as you can see, the aurora is green and the snow is white. So we have to do a little bit of trickery to keep the balance in there correct, so that when you look at it, it doesn't look unnatural to you.
So what the camera sees is what we see. And that's important, not just for the sake of art, but for science as well. The hours of video recorded over many a northern night have given detailed insights into the formation of the aurora and led to the establishment of this new multi-million-dollar research facility. Downloading data from satellites, remote ground-based sensing stations, and 4 specialised low-light cameras like this one, housed beneath the Perspex bubble here, a bank of computers will provide scientists with real-time information about the activity of the aurora and other atmospheric phenomena. With this barrage of equipment, they hope to unlock the secrets of the Arctic polar region, its relationship with the Earth's magnetic field, and the enormous bursts of energy generated by the impact of the solar wind.
And the fire magnetometers are running.
The amount of energy it takes to light up the sky during an aurora is comparable to the entire energy usage of the United States at any one moment. That makes Alaska a perfect place to study ionized gas or plasma, which physicists believe may supply a limitless source of energy for the future.
Everybody around the globe is trying to find ways of confining a plasma. Generally, one of the most effective techniques they're working on now is in a magnetic field, where the aurora here, and the reason this is in such a fine line is that the plasma confined by the magnetic field, right there.
If we can tame the power of plasma, superheated gas that makes up 99.9% of the universe, our future on Earth promises to be as bright as the aurora borealis, nature's illumination. Coming up after the break, the ups and the downs of an amateur rocketeer.
On the west coast of Scotland has been chosen as a prime site for the launching of, well, not exactly a Titan 4 or an Ariane 5, a Proton or a Long March, but a rocket which, in its own way, is also pushing at the boundaries of the final frontier. It's the Star Chaser 1A.
Plug this in here to test fit it. Is that plug-in okay?
This particular space race has humble beginnings. In the dining room and garage of amateur rocketman Steve Bennett. Steve, who works as a laboratory technician for a toothpaste company, spends every moment of his spare time designing and building rockets. Along the way, transforming his home into a rocket workshop. His wife, Adrienne, is the essential other half of a team that ultimately plans to launch bigger rockets into space.
Space is defined as being 50 miles up, and I want to get a rocket above 50 miles before the end of the century. So by 2001, I want to be the first amateur to put a rocket into space.
While NASA's shuttle is powered by solid fuel and liquid oxygen and hydrogen, the Star Chaser's secret ingredient is raw sugar. It's part of a special propellant called sucronite, with an oxidizer whose formula Steve keeps secret. Today they're preparing for the third Star Chaser launch. By mid-morning, a small crowd of rocket enthusiasts gathers in the large field to watch the launch procedure. Star Chaser 1A stands just over 3 meters, or about 10.5 feet tall. Made of phenolic tubing, glass fiber and composite materials, it was, at the time of its first launch, the largest amateur rocket built in Britain. The rocket's actually ready to fire now, and it's broken into 3 parts. There's the propulsion section here, the parachute housing in the middle, and then the payload bay and the nose cone at the top. But once it reaches its maximum altitude, it separates into 2 parts just here, and those 2 parts descend separately under parachute. On this occasion, the small payload bay, which normally carries photographic and other instrumentation, is empty. Perhaps fortuitously, because after a few moments' delay for a high-flying aircraft, there's a major problem.
You got that because... Oh. I said... I didn't get up there.
Adrian, that's not the system that's causing the problem, it's the other system.
So what happened, Steve?
Strange interference, possibly from the aeroplane. The radio signals possibly, which triggered the parachute system, and that caused the thing to pop off. So what I'm going to have to do is make things safe, take it apart, and install another ejection charge.
Steve and Adrienne set to work to repair the ejection system.
Something to stand on. You leave it in right till...
Adrian, for the last time, that isn't causing the problem.
But by now they're beginning to feel the pressure.
It's fully fueled and all the electronics are live. It's ready to go. It's like an animal, you know. It's like an entity. That's pretty scary because rockets are notorious for being unpredictable. So I'm not happy until it's actually left the pad and it's streaking skyward.
Eventually, with the ejection system repaired, Star Chaser is again ready to go. Although everything looks right, Steve is still worried that the separation charge could malfunction again. Possibly while the rocket is still under power. Or just as bad, it might not work at all. But this time, everything goes as planned.
Oh, I just want to collapse. Thank you, thank you.
Fantastic, really fantastic.
Oh,
well, you weren't sure. What a relief.
The bottom half of the rocket is found shortly afterwards a couple of kilometres away in a farmer's field.
At all? Yeah, it looks bad, but it's quite superficial, really.
The top section has already been collected by the farmer himself.
That looks as though it's in pretty good shape. Yeah.
Star Chaser 1 can be used many times again, but Steve and Adrienne have been working for over a year now on Star Chaser 2. It's exactly twice as big as Star Chaser 1A and set for a series of launches over the next year or so. As the biggest amateur rocket built in Europe, Star Chaser 2 will help propel this suburban dream to even greater heights.
One show is...
for a revolutionary new drug test that unlocks the secrets of your locks.
One hair test will give you more information than several urine tests.
Plus, dancing to a different tune with computer choreography.
Turning an art form into a life form.
Caroline joins the fighter pilots to test the latest combat technology.
Luckily, in this case, I was given an early warning by an innovative signalling system which sends sound cues to my headphones.
Come along for the ride next week on Beyond 2000. Bye for now.
From the creator of Ghostbusters, Twins and Kindergarten Cop comes the #1 canine comedy. For the first time on television, X-Files' David Duchovny stars in Beethoven, 8:30 tomorrow. Next on 10, Airtime.